Hey guys, welcome to our program. This is the Rest Stop. Sorry, there was a little bit of a technical malfunction with the sound just now, but that's okay. We are here live in our studio, of course, and today is our Tuesday edition of our program. It is our Would You Rather Day, and so today on our show, we are going to be going over our Would You Rather questions that we have for you. So the first question that we have is, well, it's kind of tricky, right? Because I'm not a dad. So I don't know about having a child. However, think about it from the perspective of maybe a child to their parents as well, too. But the question that we have is kind of one of those questions that I want you to consider deeply. But would you rather have a child who is so successful that they never have time to visit or call? Or would you rather have a child who constantly gets in trouble and needs your help all the time? So kind of let us know, which one do you think would be better? So would you rather have a child that is very successful, super successful, but they never visit, they never call you, that kind of a situation, or someone who is a child who always gets in trouble, not necessarily a child, but like, son or daughter who could be an adult, but someone who kind of needs you all the time. So which one do you think would be better for you? And I guess it depends on your style of parenting that you think you're going to have. So let us know your answer to that. And we, of course, are going to be looking over your answers quite soon. But let's get started with our very first song for today. The song that we have for you, we're going to go with a song by Kolla, actually. This is a kind of an old favorite of mine, if I want to put it that way, because it's such an odd song. Korea had this tendency back in the day to kind of go with like weird, like mixing and fusions of different genres, and like I don't know, I find them quirky and kind of like time warps in many ways. But this one is called 우울한 우연, a melancholy coincidence by Kolla, to start off our show for today. And we'll be right back. So once again, would you rather have a child that's super successful but never has a time to call or visit you, or a child who kind of constantly, needs your support and your help? Which one would you prefer and why? Let us know. All right, everyone. So that last song that we had for you was 우울한 우연, a melancholic coincidence by Kolla to start off our show for today. Now, of course, the fall is here. What's the official? Is the 23rd the official beginning of fall? I'm not quite sure because it definitely is fall weather. So we have a few fall theme songs, similar to what Kate's show is doing as well too earlier, right before our program. But our songs are going to be different than the ones I think they chose. But yeah, today on our show, we do have a question about I guess if you were a parent, what do you think you would prefer? But also, as a child, which one do you think one of these would be better as well, too? But would you rather have a child that is so successful? And I say child not as in that they are still a kid, but that they are someone's child, even if they are full-on adults. So would you rather have a child that is so successful that you never have time to visit or call you? So they're super successful, but never see you, right? Or someone who kind of needs your support all the time. So maybe they get into a little bit of trouble here and there. Maybe they have some misfortunes in life. But you, as a parent, feel like you are still needed by your kids even when they get older. So which one would you prefer and why? And if you want to talk about your relationship as an adult with your own parents, if they are still around, or how your relationship was with them as you got older, you can do so as well. And there is a reason for this question. I'm going to talk about that before I get to your answers in a little bit. But please let us know your answers for that. And while you are thinking about it, to my right, we have the good daughter in the family, 우리 공주님 상은.
안녕하세요.
Hi. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, as I said before, we don't have children. So we don't know, but we could think about it in the future. I mean, I don't even know if you want children, though. These days it's difficult because 요새는 사람들이 그냥, a lot of people don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. 그런 시대가 뭐 넘어왔으니까요. But I don't even know if that's in your future plans in your head or not. But what kind of parent do you think you would be? And I think, I'd be looking forward to hearing your answer. 어떤 식으로 대답할지 잘 모르겠죠. And also your parents, what kind of parents do you have as well, too? So we'll talk about your answer later. 이따가 한번 의견 들어보고요. Everyone else out there, get your answers on in. Would you rather have a super successful child that never wants to visit or call you because they are so busy, or someone who is always calling you because they need your help or support in some way or fashion? We had a lot of answers that came on in already, so we'll get to those shortly. But let's get into all of our listening options and then dive into our second song. We have our homepage at www.arirang.com/radio, and you can write to us there on our message board. On our FM stations from Jeju Island, Jeju City, FM 88.7, from Seogwipo FM 88.1. In the Daejeong area, you could find us at 101.9. There's also the Arirang radio app available for download. Our YouTube live stream is up and running, and we have our Instagram page at the.reststop.arirang. So please make sure to follow us there and check out our daily questions. But our next song that we have, again, because it is fall, and there's a classic song by the legendary artist Kim Kwang-seok, and it's 바람이 불어오는 곳, so where the wind comes from. So it is a folk song flavor because that's what he was known for, but it's a lovely song. We hope you like it.
설레임과 두려움으로 불안한 행복이지만 우리가 느끼며 바라볼 하늘과 사람들 힘겨운 날들도 있지만 새로운 꿈들을 위해 바람이 불어오는 곳 그곳으로 가네 그곳으로 가네 휘파람 불며 걷다가 너를 생각해 너의 목소리가 그리워도 뒤돌아볼 수는 없지 바람이 불어오는 곳 그곳으로 가네
All right, everyone. So our question that we have, I'm going to explain why I thought about this question before we get to your answers. So maybe it'll help you to kind of change your thoughts on this too. But the question is this: would you rather have a child that is so successful that they never have time to visit you or call you? Would that be your choice? Or someone who is constantly getting in trouble, so they need your help all the time? And the reason this came about is because there was an old commercial that came across my feed again, and I was like, oh, I hadn't seen this in a while. And there was a short version, there's a long version of the commercial. It's one of those Southeast Asian commercials that kind of make you cry, right? Because you're like, oh, wait, it's a banking commercial? And so it kind of tricks you. But in the commercial, basically, you had a nursing home. And in the nursing home, you had a couple of grannies, and they were sitting there talking about their kids, and they're all bragging on their kids. And so you have one grandma who's like, "Oh, my son is like super successful. He is a bank operator. Blah 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 blah." Another one's like, "Oh yeah, well my son is a doctor in a big city in a big hospital. He's a head surgeon." Blah. And so they're all bragging, and they look at this other grandma who's like, "What about you?" Right? And then that grandma's like, "Oh, my son is like very." Relaxed, he's got a family, and he just kind of lives very, comfortably and quietly kind of a thing. And the other grandmas with successful kids are like, it's too bad, he should have made more money, blah, 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 right? And it's like, yeah, but, I know my son loves me, that kind of thing. And the thing is, then, as they're talking, and the two women with super successful children are feeling sorry for the granny with like an average Joe child, then that grandma's like, oh, look who's coming. It's my son. And I'm like, oh, this is where you kind of start tearing up in the commercial. It's like, how did they get you like that? And so when that happens, all of a sudden, she goes off because her child, along with the family, came to pick her up, to take her out on a little day trip because, again, they're in the nursing home. So the idea is that he still visits his mom. He still takes care of his mom. And, I'm not sure if he needs his mom, but he takes care of her because there's more than just a need. There's like a desire. And the other grandmas see, that grandma go off with the family, and they're just sitting in the nursing home all alone, which is kind of a sad state of affairs. And definitely in nursing homes, you have a lot of people that don't visit their family, which is kind of sad. But that's why I thought about this question, because it was kind of like, oh, would you rather have a super successful child that never visits or calls you because they're too busy living their own life, they just kind of leave you to your own devices, or someone who visits you and needs your help all the time because, they might get in trouble, or because they just kind of want to see you as well too. So that's why we had the question from that commercial that popped up in my feed again, which I was like, oh, does that change your answer? Not sure. But some answers that came on in. Tasmia Tassin says that the term successful and trouble is different for each person, of course. But if your child always got good grades but doesn't mingle with anyone, there's something wrong there. You want them to be successful and sociable. If your child gets in trouble just because maybe they got in trouble because they're protecting someone else, and so they get in trouble for protecting people against bullies, you'd be proud of that kind of a child. So you're going to choose the one who gets in trouble and needs your help, because children should be guided about life. It's the job of the parents. So that's why. So maybe what one person considers trouble, you consider to be something that is, well, you're still proud of the trouble they get into. Like, they get in trouble because they're helping others situation. Oh, that's a nice thought. I actually like that. So that's one vote for you want someone who as a child still needs their parents even if they get in trouble all the time. Michael also had an answer to this one, saying that a successful child is too busy to visit or call. You've already had experience with phone calls to bail out your sons when they got in trouble. You much prefer knowing they are doing well than to fear a 2 a.m. phone call. Your kids are all grown up now anyway, so you're used to having them on their own with their own families and not really calling you. But still, since you've had both, I guess the example is you want the successful one because, that's what a parent would want for their kid, you think. And also, I guess, no one wants to get that phone call at 2 a.m. like, oh, your son's in jail, your daughter's in jail, please, come and pick them up. So you would prefer the other way around. All right, 1-1, and let's get to this next song. This one is another fall song, 가을이 오면, When the Fall Comes by 이문세.
눈부신 아침 햇살에 비친 그대의 미소가 아름다워요. 눈을 감으면 싱그러운 바람 가득한 그대의 맑은 숨결이 향기로워요. 길을 걸으면 불러보던 그 옛 노래는 아직도 내 마음을 설레게 하네. 하늘을 보면 님의 부드러운 꽃미소 가득한 저 하늘에 가을이 오면 가을이 오면 호숫가 물결 잔잔한 그대의 슬픈 미소가 아름다워요. 눈을 감으면 지나온 날의 그리운 그대의 맑은 사랑이 향기로워요. 노래 부르면 떠나온 날의 그 추억이 아직도 내 마음을 슬프게 하네. 잊을 수 없는 님의 부드러운 꽃미소 가득한 저 하늘에 가을이 오면 길을 걸으면 불러보던 그 옛 노래는 아직도 내 마음을 설레게 하네. 하늘을 보면 님의 부드러운 꽃미소 가득한 저 하늘에 가을이 오면 노래 부르면 떠나온 날의 그 추억이 아직도 내 마음을 슬프게 하네. 잊을 수 없는 님의 부드러운 꽃미소 가득한 저 하늘에 가을이 오면
All right, so that was 가을이 오면, 이문세's song, When the Fall Comes. And, I saw a message starting rumors here. I think I saw one from Sangmin saying that, the next host's replacing, Kate's show and my show and stuff like that is going to be like Jennifer Clyde and Paul Matty. Let's not speculate. I don't know who's been saying that, but that ain't true. I mean, there are going to be other DJs coming on in, names that you should probably be familiar with as well too, but that's not my thing to say. But let's not start rumors about people's that aren't confirmed. Let's just say that. So anyway, so our next song that we have for you before we get to more of your answers is a song by December called 혼자 왔어요. I Came Alone.
슬퍼서 못하는 술도 한잔했어. 맨정신으로는 견딜 수가 없어서 가슴이 울컥해서
I just saw a comment and because there's an expression, who let the cat out of the bag? And in my head, I'm always thinking, who's putting cats in bags? And so what if you let them out? Kind of a situation. But it's an old expression that just never made that much sense to me. But anyway, just randomly thought about it.
너무 그리워 자꾸 눈물이 쏟아질 것만 같아 오늘은 혼자서 왔죠 괜찮아요 내 눈물을 신경 쓰지 말아요 그 사람은 날 많이 사랑했었는데 바보처럼 내가 못나 부족해서 그만 이제 알아서 그저 미안할 뿐이죠 나 정말 아무것도 해준 게 없는데 내 분에 넘치도록 하기만 해서 이렇게 헤어지는 게 잘한 일이겠죠 사랑도 나에겐 욕심이겠죠 부탁 하나만 할게요 그 사람을 본다면 내 눈물은 내 얘긴 하지 마요 걱정할 테니까 가끔씩 혼자서 와도 몸만 걸음이 찾아도 나를 모른 척해줘요
Okay, so let's start looking at some more answers here for our question, which I think that most people who are going to answer, I think they've already answered it. So I see a lot of side conversations going on. But the question is, would you rather have a child that is so successful that they never have time to visit you or call you, or a child who is always in need of your help, right? Because one reason or another, some kind of trouble here. So right now, the vote's 1-1. Benny answered on our IG saying, well, if the child gets in trouble, you could maybe... I guess you're thinking child as in school child because the terminology there. But yeah, if they get in trouble at school, then you want to know why, so you want to get involved. And so I guess you want to have that as your answer. But yeah, I was thinking child as in, I'm 43. Yes, I'm 43. Think about my age for a second. Yes, internationally, I'm 43. My mom and dad still think of me as their little boy, right? And so I'm still a child in their eyes. Doesn't matter how old I get. We also have Nyan saying that you want to have a successful child. And the reason is, children eventually become adults. If you raise someone who can be independent and successful and can make their way in life, you would be proud of them and yourself for raising someone like that. You've also stayed in a different country from your parents for 5 years, only visiting them once a year, and you rarely call each other. It's not like you loved them any less or they loved you any less because you guys did not communicate as much. Plus, now with various messaging apps, it is a lot easier to send a text message instead of calling, so that's okay. So you want the successful child. And that rings similar to me because, obviously I live here and my parents are in the United States, North Carolina, and so, yes, we communicate through video chatting all the time, right? And so, not all the time. Actually, when was the last time I talked to them? It's been a couple of weeks, right? So, yeah. Sometimes you get busy, and sometimes, if they need something from me, they'll send me a text. Otherwise, they just kind of wait patiently for my call. And if I don't call them in a long time, they're like, are you okay? Right? And so they do still care. And I do get busy from time to time, and I forget to call. And I always feel guilty about that, right? I'm not saying I'm successful, but I always feel guilty when I ignore my parents or don't talk to them for a while. And I think that's because they raised me that way. We are independent as a family. Most of us are very independent. However, we still want to keep tabs on each other. And they still know what I'm up to because social media, stuff like that. So they still see what I'm doing even if I'm not directly contacting them. Got7 says that, yeah, like me earlier, when I was saying I don't have any kids, she's like, I don't have children either. She's actually kind of scared of pregnancy too. And so that might be one of the reasons. But you don't know which one would be. Oh, this is a good question. Between the successful child who never calls and the child who always needs your support, she's asking, which one is happier? That's a good one. So you're probably going to choose the successful one, though, because yes, they might not call or visit, but you can chat. And I guess that's a loophole because I didn't say call, visit, or chat in the question. But that's a good thing. Like, which one is happier, I think, is the one that I should focus on here, because that does remind me of an older story. It's apocryphal. I'm pretty sure it never happened. But there was a story about John Lennon. When he was a schoolboy, his teacher apparently gave an assignment saying that, everyone in class, I want you to write a story or write an essay about what you want to be in the future, right? Like, and they were thinking job, that kind of thing. And John Lennon said, oh, I want to be happy. Like, and then the teacher was like, oh, I think you misunderstood the question. And apparently John Lennon, as a schoolboy, responded, no, I think you misunderstand life. Now, again, because of that response and the age in which it happened, I have a hard time believing the story is true. It doesn't matter, though, because, maybe there is truth to that story and they want to put famous names attached to it to kind of give it more weight. But yeah, maybe life isn't about being successful. Maybe life really is just about happiness. Ponder that on your own time. But let's go into this next song. It's colder. Be careful, because Hangul got a little cold, right? I think too. 감기. This one is by Iki-chan.
나도 내 맘 어쩔 수 없는 거잖아. 너 때문에 많이 울고 웃으면서 그래도 참 행복했었는데 1년이면 괜히 돌아올 순 있니 기다리란 말도 하지 않는 거니 아파서 너무 아파서 숨을 쉴 수가 없어서 말 못하는 나를 이해해줘 그래 줄게 지우려고 준비해볼게 잊어줄게 잊으려 노력해볼게 왜 안 되니 널 지우려 애써봐도 기다리면 올 것만 같은데 1년이면 괜히 돌아올 순 있니 기다리란 말도 하지 않는 거니 아파서 너무 아파서 숨을 쉴 수가 없어서 말 못하는 나를 이해해줘 시간이 지나면 나야 하잖아 단 하루라도 잊혀져야 하잖아 아파서 너무 아파서 숨을 쉴 수가 없어서 말 못하는 나를 이해해줘 언제까지라도 널 사랑할게
Music that you wanna dance to. Arirang Radio.
All right, so some more answers that came on for question number one. I really don't know if we're going to have time for question number 2, because we had a lot of good answers that came on in. But Marilyn says that for you, it's a no-brainer. There's nothing worse than a needy child. It means that you did not do a good job raising them to be independent. And so you can always stalk them on social media to see if they are still alive and well. You don't need to have them always, talking to you or constantly, kind of being in your life, because your job is done, right? You raise them, they can go, right? And this might be like a Western versus Eastern mentality as well too. Maybe not, but I know that Marilyn rides the East and the West line herself as well too, but she says she'd rather have this successful child, because I have a hard time pronouncing that word, successful child. So you don't want a needy one. Okay, I get that. And the whole stalking them on social media just to see if they're okay, that's one of those things. And one of the things I liked being on radio for is that my mom, she could still tune into my show, and she does from time to time. She never chats. Mom, are you listening? Right? But she knows I'm okay because she sees me on the air, which I think that when we do go off the air after next week, I would have to increase my frequency of communicating with her through the phone, because I don't want her just to be worrying about me and waiting for my social media posts, right? But I think while doing radio, I just think, she knows I'm here. She knows I'm okay. And so she can hear me that way. So I got to kind of make that shift after next week. But also Cisco is saying that this is very hard to pick, but you're going to pick the child who is successful. And the reason is you'll be missing them, of course, because they're not going to call or visit, but at least you won't be stressed out and need to be there to help them fix their problems as well. Okay, that's no good. Malika says, you don't have children, but if you did, you would want your child to be a productive and successful person who is independent and contributing to society, because you need people, actually not you, we as a society need people who can push us forward, right? And so you need more successful people out there who's going to push the people, community, whatever, forward. And a person who's always in trouble and in need of help is not a happy person. A busy person who doesn't have a good work-life balance may not be happy either. Happiness is rooted in gratitude. Golf clap. That's a good statement. And because, I was talking about what is happiness, which one is more important, successful or happiness. And that's her thought on the attitude of, what is happiness per se. Just because you're busy does not mean you're happy. And there's plenty of these stories. You have deathbed confessions. People don't say, oh, I wish I had made more money. A lot of people are like, oh, I wish I had spent more time with family. And I think you've all heard similar stories like that as well, too. So what is really important? Happiness, family, what makes you happy, that kind of situation. But thanks for your answer. And that makes it 5 for successful and don't call, and 2 for still need you. Some other answers that came in. Bo, you would say you would like to have a child with a lot of problems. And the reason is, well, you also yourself have grown up with a lot of problems and issues. And so you think that you could relate to them more because you went through it yourself. It also makes me wonder, if you went through it yourself, would you want that for your child, or would you not want that for your child? Kind of situation here. For me, again, don't have children, but I always envision myself, I would literally, if it was a son, then, I would be like, we're gonna dress up, kid. I'm gonna have you in mini versions of my clothes. We're just gonna be walking around like you're my mini me. But if I have a daughter, same thing. I'd be like, I think I'd probably have her in like a whole bunch of like tutus and whatnots, or whatever she wants to wear, of course, too. But like, I'd be like, oh, like I would have so much weaponry in my house, right? Because I think I'd be overprotective of my daughter. I am that kind of in my old world mentality thought processes. But again, it's not something I've had, which is also the reason since I never had sisters, real sisters, and since I also never really had a daughter. The close female friends of mine, I kind of take them under my wing and play the older brother, protective uncle kind of role in life. So I do feel I get that vicariously, but if they can survive without me, I think it'd be better in my answer. So I'm going to go with the successful and don't need me. But they know that if they do need me, I still be there. Anyway, this song that we have for you is a cute one, Bijou, and it is Love You More Than Anyone, 누구보다 널 사랑해.
세상 누구보다 널 사랑해 너의 작은
쓸려온 뿌리를 비출 거야
아침 햇살이 창가에 비칠 때면 너의 해맑은 미소가 행복하게 해 두 눈을 감고 파란 하늘을 봐 우리 함께 그린 예쁜 세상을
Nyan has a personal question to ask about the big bro thing. And you're wondering if you have to like refrain from asking what's on your mind. Does that mean you have to slap yourself? Okay, that reference is because question number 2, which I'll ask just in case, but would you rather always have to speak your mind? Always, no matter what's on your mind, just no filter, just whatever you're thinking, you gotta say it. Or you gotta slap yourself every time that you are about to say something but you're holding your tongue. So you wanna say it but you're like, you know, so which one would you prefer? That's question 2. We'll see how much time we have for that. But you have a personal question about the big bro thing? Yeah, let us know, and we'll see what we have time for to answer on our show today.
돌아보면 너와 함께 했던 지난 날들 너무나 그리워 아주 아주 오랜 시간 지나 그때도 우리를 그리워하겠지 언제나 넌 내게 다 있어주었지 힘들 때도 너는 내 세상 속 친구인 걸 그저 너를 위해 내가 모든 걸 해주고 싶어
아침 햇살이 창가에 비칠 때면 너의 해맑은 미소가 행복하게 해
너와 함께하며 지내온 날들 그 속에 우리의 사랑
언제까지나 너를 사랑해 너의 모든 것을 언제까지나
아침에서 날씨가 기대어 불리시는 우리 심장을 들려 우리 작은 웃음을 담겨봐요 나 미소스 언제까지 너를 지켜줘야 지난 하루 바닷가에 달리
모든
너의 작은 모습을 보내리 언제까지 너와 나의 마음속에
언제까지나
비출 거야
All right, so let me try to run through the remaining answers for question number 1. And again, question 2 is, would you rather always have to speak your mind? So whatever you're thinking, just gotta say it, right? Even if it's like, I'm hungry, I really gotta pee. Like even those things. Or every time you have to like filter yourself and hold back what you want to say, you gotta slap yourself. Which one? Which one? But yeah, so we had an answer from Jack about question 1 saying that you would rather choose option 1 because you hope that children would grow up without any problems and not get into any trouble, even if they don't call or visit. Again, it's a sign of good parenting if you raise independent children as well, too. The top priority is their health and success, but you would still hope that they would contact you. And yeah, that is the hope for the most part. And again, there's a difference. My friends in the States, a lot of them were raised that, oh, their parents are like, oh, you're 18, move out. As soon as you're 18, you know, whatever happens, you're out of the house because it's like my job is done. And a lot of my Asian family friends, they're the opposite. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. Up until the day you die, you know, you still have, you know, the parent-child relationship, right, kind of situation. So, I don't know. It's a cultural thing. Like when does the umbilical cord officially get cut? When is that kind of situation? But so Jack's answer makes it 7-3 in favor of the successful child. Tasman Tasman said life is about being a good human being and you can be successful about it. Unfortunately, society has their definition of what successful means and doesn't always match up with what it should mean. Okay. So question 2, before we get to that real quick. Sang은, question 1, let's talk about your answer. So successful child who doesn't need you or someone who needs you all the time. 어떤 것을 원할 것 같아요?
서운하긴 하지만 그래도 혼자서 잘 사는 게 낫지 않을까.
So even if she'd be personally sad if they never contact her, wouldn't you want your child to be successful and doing the best they can in life? Okay, yeah. What about your parents? Are they still all up in your life? 항상 전화 오는 건가요?
항상이라기보단 무슨 일이 있으면 이제 전화하고 너무 연락을 안 하면 또 전화하기도
근데
하고.
너무 연락 안 하는 것이 며칠이에요. It's like oh, they'll call if you haven't contacted in a while. So like, how long is that while?
한
A month?
2주? 3주?
2 weeks, 3 weeks. So they still want that twice a month update. 전화할 때마다 몇 분 동안 얘기해요. Like, how long do you talk during that time you make that call?
아무리 짧아도 2분은 하는 것 같아요.
Okay, so even if it's short, 2 minutes. Like, I'm good. Don't worry. I'm fine. Everything okay? Good. Talk to you later. So something like that. Yeah, I mean, at least like 5 minutes for me, I think. And then like 기도도 maybe like sometimes you just get into it and say like get like 2 hours. 가끔씩 2시간 동안. Because my parents are in the States. 미국에 있으니까, right? So like, the farther away, I have longer conversations with them. But yeah, thanks for your answers, Hangun. Everyone else out there, well, question 2, speaking your mind or slapping yourself whenever you have to hold your tongue. Let's see. Taz, oh, by the way, the answer, question 1 winner is successful child. Question 2, let's see here. Taz says, someone who speaks your mind, you still do it, and you do it too. You don't want to slap yourself. It's too much pain. So that's not what you prefer. Michael says you always want to have someone who would speak your mind. You're not really good at that yourself, actually. You always hold your tongue. And so it would be a nice change if you were more outgoing and sociable in those situations. It's better to do that than walk around with big old red cheeks because you're always holding your tongue all the time. Okay. Benny saying option 1, your mind really speaks things a lot anyway, so basically you just kind of want to follow that. So, all right, so again, for me, there's unfiltered thoughts that you can think things and not say things, and I think it's often safer to do so, but it makes you wonder how many of those thoughts you hold back in the first place. But right now, there's all the votes for speaking your mind because nobody wanted to self-slap themselves in the face. But we'll get to this next song right now. It's 이효리 with 톡톡톡.
슬슬 훔쳐보는 네 시선이 느껴지지 살금살금 다가오는 웃음소리 들려오지 내 발 앞에 멈춰있는 발걸음이 느껴질 때 두근두근 설레이는 내 가슴이 하늘길 살며시 단둘이 깡그리 놀아 아무도 모르게 이제 널 초대해 이 밤의 판타지 내게 노크를 해줘 baby talk 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 나의 맘을 열어줘 honey go 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 오늘 밤엔 crazy 오늘 너의 lady 푸른 같은 느낌은 on and on and on and on 물처럼 촉촉하게 내 입술이 젖어들지 바람처럼 나른하게 네 숨결이 불어오지 머리부터 발끝까지 네 손길이 스쳐질 때 태양처럼 달아오는 이 시간 하늘길 살며시 단둘이 깡그리 놀아 아무도 모르게 이제 널 초대해 이 밤의 판타지 Nobody catch me 내게 노크를 해줘 baby talk 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 나의 맘을 열어줘 honey go 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 오늘 밤엔 crazy 오늘 너의 lady 푸른 같은 느낌은 on and on and on and on
Okay, I gotta answer this question. I just saw it. Nine was like, your question about me being like an older brother figure to some of my female friends is that, doesn't that lead to friend zoning? Like, what if there was potential, but then you got friend zoned? Okay, to clarify, I'm not the older brother type to all the girls in my life that are around me. The ones that I have romantic interest in, no. I'm not gonna be the older brother type. I'm gonna be more the Fabio type. But if it's someone I have zero romantic interest in, then they're little sisters, or, that kind of situation. So like in those situations, the friend zoning is fine because I don't see them as more than that anyway. So there. I don't need to slap myself because I answered you truthfully.
Hey, you, lady, don't stop, shake it, baby. K, make it crazy, let's take it to the top, we won't stop. Hey, you, lady, don't stop, shake it, baby. K, make it crazy, let's take it to the top, we won't stop.
All right, a little bit of time left before we have to wrap up our show. So question 2, talking about speaking your mind all the time or slapping yourself. Let's see here. Nayan did say that she would rather speak her mind diplomatically, of course, right? Slapping yourself would be awkward, especially in social context. Yeah, just because you got to speak your mind doesn't mean you got to blurt it out in the most blunt and arrogant way. You can be very smooth about how you say things, right? Even if it's a negative, you can wrap it in a positive. So I feel like, which is why that's going to get my answer as well, too. Malika says, oh, you are so not interested in slapping yourself. You'd rather speak your mind. And again, thoughtfully and diplomatically. Bo, speaking your mind, you'd rather be brutally honest than not, because you think that brute honesty is the best policy. It's always better to be brutally honest all the time than not. Sometimes the truth hurts. Yeah, and I get that, and I used to think that, because I'm a brutally honest type of individual. Like, my go-to default is not to ring around and go in circles. Like, if I see a problem, my default response is to be like, bro, don't, right? And I give exact reasons why, like, oh, you're being a jerk, or you're being other expletives. But as I've matured, it has come to the point where if you got to speak to someone, you got to speak to them on terms that they recognize, on terms that they understand. And sometimes if somebody is emotional and you speak the truth to them, they're not going to hear it because they're not ready to hear the truth, even though they can hear it later. At that time, in that moment, sometimes you got to delay the truth for some people until they are ready to hear it, which is why sometimes being diplomatic is more important. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think, our time for today is pretty much all done. I can't see the clock right now. What time is it? There it is. Okay. For some reason, I had a view that was blocked. But yes, our time is done for today. We do have one more song to play as we wrap up our show. This one is Pakasatang, Peppermint Candy by YB. And so, this song, a lot of you guys know it. It's a classic, like, rock song from Yoon Do-hyun band, or YB as he's known now, but Pakasatang. And with that, take care. Sorry I did not go through all your answers for question number 2, but I appreciate you guys participating in our program. As we wrap up our show, this is our song. And for Sangin and I, we're going to be out of here. We'll see you guys back here again tomorrow, though. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.